saw at the NFL draft this weekend. I'll get to that in our last segment of the show called Best for Last. It was a complete head scratcher. I think the draft is a lot of fun. I don't necessarily buy in all these grades. I'll say it again on Baker Mayfield. I don't think Baker Mayfield is going to be a bust. I do not. I do not think he's going to be a bust. I just think at the number one pick, you could have gotten more value than Baker Mayfield. I saw him, honestly, as kind of a second-round talent. I think he's average athlete, undersized. The Big 12 of the last 19 quarterbacks, like 17 have been abject busts. This is not a conference that plays very much defense. And then in the second half against Georgia, a team that plays a lot of defense, Baker Mayfield struggled. They kind of abandoned the passing and ran it more. So it's not that he's a bust. I thought Tebow was a waste of a pick. I thought Johnny Manziel was a waste of a pick. I would not draft him because I think he lacks the kind of maturity I'm looking for at quarterback. I'm not tying my franchise to him. But he's a draftable quarterback, and he will score some touchdowns, and he's a very accurate thrower of the football. Because he's going to win games. Tebow won 6 straight games in the NFL. Mark Sanchez made back-to-back AFC championships. Baker's not going to be a Manziel bust. He's not going to be a Jamarcus Russell bust. Jamarcus just didn't want to put the time in. Baker, I think, has been terribly overdrafted, and I don't think Cleveland maximized the pick. They could have had the best offensive player and the best defensive player. And forget Baker for a second. They chose a corner over Bradley Chubb. Everybody that I know in the game and respect had Bradley Chubb number 1 defensive player on their board. He is the best pass rusher in years. And they didn't get that one right either. Here's veteran newsman John Goulet.
No.
Turn on the news. This is the Herdline News.
So, Colin, the big news Friday out of Dallas, besides the draft, was that Jason Witten all of a sudden was going to retire and join ESPN's Monday Night Football.
Yes.
But it wasn't sure. He just wanted to talk to Jerry one last time.
Okay.
Apparently, Jerry, and this maybe isn't surprising, convinced him to hold off on that because he still has not officially said anything about what he's doing. And reportedly, Jason Garrett is working very hard to convince Witten to stay with the Cowboys for at least another year. How much impact does that have on the Cowboys on the field if he walks away?
Well,
he had his worst season statistically, but he still probably has the best hands on the team.
Yeah, no, I mean, he's a nice third-down tight end. I mean, how many balls did he catch last year? 58? 60? How many catches?
63.
Okay.
If he had 5 touchdowns?
Yeah, I mean, that's a valuable player. I mean, again, with Jason Witten, I think he's always been a really good pass-catching tight end. I think with Jason Witten is one of those guys that you go to Jason Witten, and here's what you say, and I've heard coaches say this. You're like, listen, we're going to keep you out of the OTAs. We're going to, by the way, you don't have to wear pads during practice for the week. I've talked to a lot of people about this. The Rams may have done a little bit of this to Whitworth, the left tackle. I'm not sure if they did. This is the kind of thing you do to an old left tackle or a guy in the trenches. You don't have to wear pads during the week. Listen, go to meetings, be around, walkthroughs, but you can miss a lot of OTAs. Maybe Thursday will get you in a shell, but that's what you do with Jason Witten. Jason likes the games. Jason doesn't like the practices and doesn't want the beating.
Well, and you never know when that TV gig is going to be open again, a big high-profile gig like that. Sticking with the Cowboys, the Los Angeles Rams traded receiver Tavon Austin to the Cowboys over the weekend for a 6th-round pick. He's kind of like a Percy Harvin-ish type of guy, but less talented.
Yeah.
So this was Stephen Jones talking about how the Cowboys plan on using Austin.
We're talking about a back here, a web back that is supersized in terms of how explosive he can be. And we intend to use him as just as we used Dunbar in the past. And feel like with Zeke and Rod that they feel their role, and Tavon can really do some special things for us in addition to being a nice threat in the return game, to say the least.
Yeah. So, for people who don't know, Dunbar is a running back. I'm not really sure what he means by use him like Dunbar, but do you think he'll have an impact for the Cowboys this year?
Here's the thing. If they just went out and got him, but what Dallas did, I keep telling you, John, I think the Cowboys know what they're doing here.
Yeah.
what the Cowboys did was really smart. They got a little gadget guy like Tavon Austin. Then they went and drafted a third-round college kid, a prospect. And then they went and got Alan Hearns, who's a big possession guy. So they're fine. They got a little bit of everything. They got a little speedy, small gadget guy. They got a big Alan Hearns is a very smart, nice, veteran possession guy.
They also traded last year's fourth-round pick, Ryan Switzer, who's a returner and a receiver, for a defensive tackle, which was a need. And then they bring in Tavon Austin, who kind of takes that same role.
Yeah.
And finally, maybe my favorite story of the day, Baker Mayfield, the Cleveland Browns' first overall pick, threw out the opening pitch at a Cleveland Indians game alongside with Denzel Ward, their fourth pick. Accuracy already an issue.
Let me see. Wow.
It was a little outside, I guess you could say.
Let's see. So you have the actual.
Yeah, this is him throwing right here. They throw just short of the mound. So if you kind of figure how far the mound is, Colin, that's a 20-yard pass to a wide-open receiver. So accuracy already a major issue for Baker Mayfield in Cleveland.
Veteran newsman John Goulet.
Well, that's the news.
And thanks for stopping by.
The Herd Line News.
Doug Gottlieb stopped by earlier today. I know a lot of you were like, oh, coward, you can't wait to bury Russell Westbrook. But I asked Gottlieb earlier today, Doug, let's be honest. You no longer can deny his issues, right?
Yeah, he is what he is, right? Yeah, that's the, and everybody goes, oh yeah, he's 43 shots. Now I will defend Russell Westbrook on two different parts. Remember, Paul George was 2 of 18 in Game 6. So the people who say you should have gotten the ball to Paul George more, Paul George was 2 of 18, and Carmelo Anthony is washed up.
Yeah,
this year, they're like, well, we'll make him into a jump shooter. He couldn't make jump shots in this series, and he can't guard anybody. They didn't even play him in the fourth quarter there for a good stretch of time until the very, very end against the Utah Jazz. So I will defend him in that he was the only person capable of picking them up. I'll also defend him in an atrocious missed call. They fight all the way back to being down 3. Paul George catches the ball outside the three-point line. He pump fakes and lifts Rudy Gobert, and Rudy Gobert makes a little bit of contact as Paul George jumps into him. We've seen this play 1,000 times over. Should it be called a foul? Probably not. Is it called a foul? Every time, especially when it's a star player. Quinn Snyder's over there in the sideline holding his head. So this game likely should have gone to overtime and could have been an incredible comeback, just not like the comeback in Game 5. But Russell Westbrook, as you have stated, as I have stated, really hard to play with. And 43 shots, over 80 shots in the last 2 games. He is what he is, and he's going to be in Oklahoma City for the rest of eternity. They got Carmelo's contract. This thing's in bad shape.
It's a mess.
I don't see any way Paul George comes back.
I think Paul. By the way, you got Lonzo Ball and Ben Simmons. Both could elevate him. I think he will. I think you get him a little bit of a bargain now because the theory now is like, God, he was awful late. You put him with Ben Simmons. You put him with Ben Simmons.
Listen, I do think you'll put him with Ben Simmons. I think that would be possible. I think the more likely destination is the LA Lakers. But I heard there's some people who cover the Oklahoma City Thunder. Well, he played poorly, so now he'll want to come back. Has nothing to do with it. He didn't play well late. He played great in Game 5, by the way. He was incredible.
Yeah.
Didn't play well in Game 6, so that has hurt his value. No, it won't. He's a max player.
Yeah.
He'll pick his destination. I do think Philadelphia is viable. I think the Lakers are the most likely destination for him.
By the way, I've Milwaukee, Indiana, Washington, yawn. Toronto's always been a yawn for me. But I'll say this, 7 games for LeBron. I don't think he was being. He wasn't yesterday projecting. I think he was absolutely shot at that press conference.
Correct, and that was the goal. Remember what the Pacers were doing to the Cavs is the exact same thing that the Cavs used to try and do to Michael Jordan, which is we're not double teaming you. We're going to make you beat us by yourself and see if you have gas in the tank in the fourth quarter. He only made 2 shots in the fourth quarter. Both were layups. He took 2. He settled for 2 jump shots, and he wasn't close on either of them. So the game plan worked in that let him score all the points he wants on ISOs in the first 3 quarters. Let's see if he has any gas in the tank for the fourth quarter, which he did not.
He did not.
Now, they gave up a layup. They gave up a bunch of offensive rebounds, and the Pacers just don't have enough offense. I agree with you that And look, I think the Raptors are going to do the same thing, which is make him beat you for make him beat you 4 times in 7 games, and he will be exhausted.
Yeah.
The problem is, there's not a guy who the Pacers have who can guard him, who can, it's the same.
The Raptors?
And the Raptors either.
Yeah.
Right? There's no good matchup for them. Unlike when he runs into the Warriors, for example, who they have 4 or 5 defenders who can rotate bodies on him. So this is the game plan. The Pacers just weren't good enough to pull it off. They were really close. They actually, on aggregate, badly beat them, right? You combine all the scores, badly beat them. They just don't have enough offense down the stretch for when LeBron James is out of gas. I don't think he was being dramatic. I think he really was that tired.
All right, let's talk New England. I thought they had a pretty good draft, but everybody thinks I'm a Patriot homer. What did you think?
I thought it was a tremendous draft for a team that had not drafted well the past couple of years. Remember, last year they traded out of the draft. They said, we're not good at this, let's not do it. But the narrative coming in is they're going to draft Tom Brady's replacement, right? And they went and got a running back, and they went and got an offensive tackle, and they went and started to fix
all
things.
things they lost.
All the things they lost, they went and replaced. Look, the Gronk thing I told you last week is about money. It's not about a power struggle. It's about money. Drew Rosenhaus got him an incentive-laden, changed their deal last year. He wants more money. That's why he's talking about retiring. The Tom Brady thing is, I believe, about an internal, or not necessarily, an internal struggle within his home.
Yeah.
Giselle doesn't want him to play.
Right.
He wants to play forever. And I do think that there's some Belichick can be hard to deal with, but they've been to 8 Super Bowls, and you put up with it. There is one guy that you have heaped a bunch of praise on that I thought had an awful draft night, and that's Josh Rosen.
Yeah, I really like him as a player.
Well, I like him. Everyone likes him when you see him. When you saw him play against USC, you saw UCLA play USC in the Coliseum this year.
Yes.
You're like, wow, that guy looks ready to play in the NFL.
He does.
Right? So why didn't he go number 1 overall? Well, there's some medical issues with the shoulder.
Yeah.
He also had a concussion.
Yeah.
Remember, he has a parent who is a spinal doctor.
Yeah.
So there's the thought when people say he has other interests, the thought is at the first sight of repeated concussions, he's going to walk away from football because he knows there's more to life than football.
Yeah.
But here's the bigger thing. You remember when he said, it's not about what pick I'm drafted. Remember that?
Yes.
Before the draft. No, it's about fit. It's about fit.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he gets drafted. He's like, 9 mistakes in front of me. Not only, this is where he has no self-awareness. It's one thing to completely contradict something you said before the NFL draft. It's another thing to cast a shadow on the shine of 9 guys drafted in front of you.
Yeah.
Right? He didn't say 9, I want to beat those 9 teams. He basically called the 9 guys drafted ahead of him mistakes. Right? So again, I don't think he does it intentionally, but this is who Josh Rosen is. This is why in high school everybody raves about his talent, but nobody was that sad to see him go. This is why at UCLA everybody raved about his talent, but nobody's that sad to see him go. That's why Jim Mora, though he's backpedaled and tiptoed around it, he would have preferred coaching Sam Darnold. And so he has a world of talent. And now look, he's got Sam Bradford, who I know is fragile, but has $20 million. He's going to start this year. They have a backup who's been a starter with Chicago as late as last year. And I think there's some politics he's going to walk into to which this is who he is, and you're going to have to deal with it for the life of his career.
So I got to tell you, the strangest thing I saw all weekend in the draft didn't have to do with the Cowboys, the Patriots, the Eagles. It's mind-blowing. Mind-blowing. That's next in Best for Last. It's the Herd.
Wow. Blue Link, unlock my husband's Kona.
Thanks, babe. Introducing the SUV that's big on tech.
You should see the moon tonight.
Are you serious?
The first ever Hyundai Kona with Blue Link. Life on Earth just got a little more intelligent.
Play my jams? Turn on lights? Start washer. Okay.
The moment you realize you can't teach your old washer new tricks.
At Lowe's, we keep you ahead of the curve with smart appliances like FlexWash and FlexDry by Samsung, so you can do 2 laundry loads at the same time and check the status on your phone.
Start washer.
All projects have a starting point. Start with Lowe's.
Shop Lowe's and get up to $500 via rebate with purchase of select Samsung appliances.
This
is Lynchburg, a small town in the heart of Tennessee, where families and neighbors work together